Is all flattery wrong? Sometimes one wants to genuinely compliment someone for a wholesome act or words. Is that wrong? If someone has done some wholesome act or have spoken some wholesome words, if you don't compliment, if you are already taken the Bodhisattva precepts, you have broken the precept. You know what I mean? It's your duty, it's almost like your precept to compliment him or her, to encourage her, to give her or him the confidence to carry on. If you don't compliment, you're wrong. It's different from flattery. Flattery is you're not telling the truth. You're not being authentic in trying to express yourself. If someone looks like a beggar, you say, "You're beautiful," and that's not right. In your mind, you know it's ugly, but you say, "You're beautiful." I don't know, you're being sarcastic or you have some other purpose. So flattery is to say something that is not true. But if you're complimenting someone, which you are sure that he has done something right, is not only good, it's highly recommended by the Bodhisattva's precepts manual, by people who have taken Bodhisattva precepts. So you have to compliment. It's not wrong, it's right. Flattery is you're exaggerating it. And flattery also contains a double tongue connotation. You tell Mr. A that Mr. B is terrible, and then you tell Mr. B that Mr. A is terrible. You're using a double tongue. Double tongue could be very harmful to people, to colleagues, to family members. So flattery is not, it's wrong, but compliment is not wrong. Next question, when chanting the great compassion mantra, does it matter if we are not in unison? It is hard to keep up when it's chanted so fast. When you are chanting, if you go too slowly, a lot of thoughts tend to come into your chanting. For example, if you're chanting, Namo Ratna Taraya Namo, oh, you think about lunch. You think about Namo Arya Balakitis Puraya. Oh, I like the tiramisu. So you're letting thought intruding into your mind because you've been very sluggish and slow that you allow thoughts to come in. Whereas if you are being fast, then it's difficult for thoughts to attempt to attack you. It's difficult for thoughts to come through you. So it's relatively better to chant faster than slower. And also in your circumambulation, when you're walking, if in some meditation hall, not just walking, you have to run. When you're running, you're under pressure to concentrate in your running that no other thoughts will come into you. Because if you don't concentrate in your running, you'll bump into someone. Or you'll kick your chair's leg, you kick a meditation stool. So you really have to be you really have to be conscious or mindful of what you're doing. So if you're walking very slowly, then you may allow thoughts to come in. However, there's another practice which deliberately take the slow motion and control the thought. How do they do that? In the Theravada school, they walk very, very slowly. And when they walk very slowly, they concentrate on the movement. Now my foot is landing on the floor. My heel, my right heel is touching the floor. Now at the same time, my left toes are touching, and my left heel is rising. And then now the sole of my feet on the right foot is landed flat on the floor. Then my heel is getting up. So that kind of school of meditation breaks down the movement into minute details. But they have those descriptions to occupy their mind. Now my toes are on the floor. Now it's slowly rising. Now I'm striving into another step. They do it very, very slowly, and they concentrate into every minute movement. Why did they do that? No other thoughts will come in. They're contemplating on the slow motion. Some people do it like that, and some people find it very effective. But if you are not conscientious, you're doing it too slowly, then first of all, you get annoyed because habitually you don't walk that slow. You have to be faster than that. So when chanting the Great Compassion Mantra, it is better to be in unison, the same, all the voices are together, because the energy vibrates. There's a lot of vibration going on, and if you are in harmony, everybody at the same time, it would also induce other people to chant. So chanting is not to whisper. Don't just whisper. Whisper in your mind is not right. You have to voice it out. Voice out the chanting. Some people are deliberate. Some people are habitually lazy, because by chanting you have to use energy. So if you're habitually lazy, you let other people to toil their tone. How do I care? Especially when you're chanting in a group. We used to have monks and nuns chanting, for example, for some layman who passed away, chanting in a funeral service or doing a ceremony. And in some cases, in some communities, that kind of rituals have developed into quite a commercialized connotation. So in other words, somebody passed away and they hire a few monks or nuns to go on in the funeral to do certain rituals, and they have to negotiate about a price. How much per person? 500? No, 1,000. 1,500. They negotiate. Some people like that. They get them to be commercialized. And who are those monks and nuns? Well, some of them, they may be impersonators. We don't know. There's so many kinds of personalities in this world. They may not be true, authentic monks and nuns. They just adorn on monks and nuns vestments, and they are pretending. They shave their head. It's easy to shave their head now. It's in fashion. Before, shaving heads is not in fashion. Who would like to shave a head? In the 50s and 60s, if you shave your head, it's not good. I don't know when it becomes a fashion. I don't know. Maybe it starts with the entertainment circle. A great big actor or actresses shave their head, and then all of a sudden everybody follow. So if you judge whether a certain person is a monk or not just by looking at their head, you're wrong. They're not the same. And even if they're wearing the same vestments, they may not be true monks and nuns. Don't take it for granted. When I was in Hong Kong, even just about 2 years ago, in the subway, at the entrance to the subway, there used to be a monk carrying a bowl and then using a stick to hit the gong. Dong. Spectacles, silver lining spectacles, trimmed very nicely. The clothes, the vestments, very absolutely clean. And standing in there, and people deposit $5, $10, $20 into the bowl. And he looks gorgeous. He looks like it's very clean. And then there was a reporter who was interested in seeing what happened. After he change position, change his vestments. They follow, and they know that they have a van coming to pick him up. And in the van, there's a few other monks too. And when they're in the van, they take off the vestments and put on ordinary clothes. They're not true monks. Because every day, if they stand in there for 5 hours, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 could have deposited into the bowl. And it's better than working. They don't have to work. So, why do I sidetrack from the question to this? Sometimes I don't know why I sidetrack. Chanting, yes, about chanting. So in those funerals, if you're being lazy and you don't chant and let other people chant and you still make the money, and the contractor in the group say, I'm not going to get you next time. I'm not going to call you up for the service. You don't have the business anymore. You know what I mean? They have to watch everybody to make sure that you have to voice out. You have to produce some sound. So they have to learn it. So chanting in harmony, you need that. If it is hard to keep up, it just shows that you're not conversant with it yet. You don't know exactly how to chant. You have to learn it. You have to memorize it. If you're going too fast, it's not right too. You can't even curl your tongue. I mean, you can't even. It's too fast. So you have to have the right pace on the fast side, but you have to have the right pace. And also, you have to keep, if the group cannot keep up with you, if you know that the group cannot, then you have to slow down your pace. That is what the presenter is doing. The presenter is hitting the gong and hitting the fish. He has to know what the group situation is. If it is too fast, he has to slow it down. If it's too slow, he had to speed it up. So it all depends on circumstances. All right? Okay, this question is answered. Third question. I recovered from kidney failure 3 months ago. I'm just wondering if this is a miracle or misdiagnosed. 9 months ago, 9 specialists told me that I would not recover from the kidney failure based on kidney biopsy and other tests. I was on dialysis. Dialysis? Yes. No other. Okay, so that means you recover from a kidney failure and the doctor said you cannot recover. And now you seem to be recovering from it. And you think it could be a miracle. Maybe the doctors are wrong. It's not a miracle, maybe just they're wrong, or it's a miracle. Well, many things happen like that. But everything is changing. There's nothing in this world that's not changing. The fact that right now is a miracle for you, you appreciate it. Appreciate the time that you're giving this miracle, that you experience this miracle. And how should you, in my mind personally, when something is given good to me, I always want to repay. I always want to give out. I want to give out compassion to others. So the time that I'm enjoying it, I really appreciate it. Maybe I should do something to linger it or help some other people to realize it, or to share some people with it. I don't know if you you believe in the Buddhist teaching yet. Maybe you have or you have not. But to maintain a status quo of something, you really have to look at 2 perspectives to maintain status quo, to make sure that the miracles linger on and would not change. The first is on yourself. You have to do something to make it status quo, to maintain it. How do you do it? I don't know. Maybe for health reasons. There's certain things you eat, certain things you don't eat, or you have to be extremely careful on something. What you can do physically, and mentally what you can do to maintain that kind of a miracle, status quo, carry on and on and on. That's purely from your own efforts. Another is from other efforts. And in other words, outside of you. And this other efforts comes also in two parts. One is spiritually. The other is the doctor's help, doctor's advice. But to me, because your doctors already have, you thought already have misdiagnosed, maybe you should depend more on the spiritual others to help. Then you should learn how to interact with the spiritual bodhisattvas who are always ready to help people who are in need. Existence is not just existent in the form that we experience now. In other words, what is existence? You exist as sentient beings. I can see you. I see you, I see your physical bodies. But it does not mean that existence is just in physical form. It could be in spiritual forms. Spiritual form beings, there are also other beings who already have gone through difficulties like you and me, who are ready to help. It's just like in physical form, there are people who are ready to help other people. But in a form that is different from yours, there are other spiritual forms, and we call them the bodhisattvas. The bodhisattvas are already there to help you to maintain the status quo of your miracle. Have you been caught interacting with these bodhisattvas? And how do you interact with them? The method of interaction is by chanting, by saying your prayers, by connecting it through your meditation. Have you been doing that? Or you take your miracle for granted? Miracle may not linger on, you know. So if I were you, I would do two things. One is to analyze that how you physically can do to maintain your miracle. The other is you've got to learn how to interact with the bodhisattvas to give you the help. Another thing you can do from the self side is you have to analyze, why have I become unhealthy? Why do I have to go through this operation? Why do I have to go through this surgery? I don't know if you've gone through a surgery or not. I don't know. Why do I have to go through this surgery? Why do I have to go through all this suffering? There must be a cause. There must be causes for this suffering to occur, right? If you trace your sufferings to what you experience now, it could be because you're not careful with your own health. You're not careful with eating. You're not careful with drink too much or something like that. Another is there could be reasons that pass down to you from previous lives. Maybe you have been killing animals. You haven't been vegetarian. And you'll be cruel. You're atrocious to animals. Or there are many, many reasons. Basically, for people who live long, this life is because you protect animals in your previous life. You maintain their longevity, so you got your longevity in this life too. So if I were you, you already got the health, maybe you should be a vegetarian. You don't kill animals for food anymore. You don't slaughter animals. You don't support people slaughtering animals for food. You know the pain and suffering of animals being slaughtered. You don't want to do that anymore. You know the pain. You know the pain in if you don't go through the anesthesia, if people just cut on you without anesthesia, you feel the pain. Those animal slaughters are being slaughtered without anesthesia. Most of them. If you Google into slaughterhouses, you know some of these workers, butchers, they're not experienced. They could have done the wrong thing in electrocuting the animals before they slaughter them. We're all, for those who are not vegetarian and vegans, you're just eating the dead bodies of animals being killed. Is it worth eating dead bodies every day? You're eating dead bodies. So there's so many things you can do. Sit down and think about it. Maybe I should be a vegetarian. Maybe I should do this and that. Maybe I should start to be more compassionate. Maybe I should, if I have the ability, maybe I should help others. I should give out. I should donate. I should be compassionate. There's so many things you can do. So many things you can do to purify your own karma. Why do I have to go through this? Because my karma carry me to do this. So I need to purify my karma. So I need to be volunteer in hospitals or in a temple or the nursing homes or the sick children hospitals. Maybe I should be more compassionate. By concentrating and being compassionate, then maybe I can change my situation. Maybe I can maintain my situation. So many things you can do. And don't ignore the spiritual part of it, because there's a lot of power in the spiritual part of it. Because bodhisattvas, or some people call them guardian angels, they're there to help you. But you've got to know their frequency. Your mind radio has to get to the frequency of their mind radio so that you can get connection and link. How do you calm the mind from negativity, being negative, from day-to-day life? How do you calm the mind? So that means you don't want to have negative thoughts. Calming your mind is, first of all, you have to understand your mind first. That's why we're giving this course in the mind, or subconscious, and being very conscious of your thought. Don't let unwholesome thoughts come up in your mind. Negative thoughts come up in your mind. When a negative thought comes up, as I have said, like in your meditation, you subdue it with your stick. Push down the snake's head. When your mind is not calm, what does that mean? That means you have anger, you have hatred, you have agitation, you have negligence, you have fraudulence, you have jealousy, you have depression, you have, you name it. What do you have? Then you must push down. The snake is going to bite you. You push down the snake. Don't let it bite you. And if you train yourself enough, then you know every time when the snake moves, you know already. You know that that snake is moving, you calm it down. You train yourself not to have that thought arising in you. Then that means calming your mind in the first place. If you're being negative in your thought, then you push down your negativity thought. Don't let it come up. But can you do that? Difficult. Because instantaneously, habitually, all this self-centered thought, all this egoistic thought, mental afflictions of jealousy, anger, hatred, you name them. They've been with you all your life, all your previous life. They've been with you habitually. You're in love with them. And you won't depart with your lovers now. You're in love. When you're in love, you're blind. You like them. You like them being depressed. Someone who's depressed in a room, close all the windows and lock yourself up and then start being depressed. And when you are a third person, when you look at him, he's really suffering. But he may be, yeah, he's suffering, but it seems that he liked to be in it. I still remember we're dealing with a case when I was at University of Toronto. We have fellow students. That's in my third year. And he got bad marks and he really got depressed. And we were living we were renting the whole basement, in which we have about 5 rooms, and I'm sharing one, and all the others sharing a different room, and this guy locked himself up. And we know something is happening, locking himself up. And then we saw smoke coming out from underneath the doors. And we got scared. Is he burning himself? So we'll break the door open. You know, a lot of cigarette butts on the floor. He was smoking. One after another, one after another, until the whole room was in smoke. He's depressed, and he seems to be in love with it. There's a lot of pressure studying, at universities. I have one fellow student who traveled back to Hong Kong every summer, And he wanted to get into medical school, and they couldn't get enough marks. He's only about 85 or 87, and you need about 91, 92 to get into medical school at U of T. I don't know. There's so many Chinese students at medical school during those years in the 1970s. Everybody wants to get in. So he wants to get in. He couldn't. He was under pressure. And his behavior has changed to be quite erotic. How do we find out? He came back from Hong Kong one summer, and we picked him up at the airport, and he was escorted by an officer coming out from immigration. And the officer told us, what happened is like this. They went through the customs check. And he opened the briefcase and said, wow, what do you got in there? No clothes in there. No clothes, nothing, no possession. A knife and an axe. Well, what are you carrying this? Well, that, in those days, they don't check you that in detail, so you can carry that on the plane. Well, I have been threatened in Chinatown. I have to carry this to protect myself. He thought that he wanted to carry an axe and a knife to protect himself. He thought somebody's going to attack him all the time. It's gone crazy, being pressurized. We all have problems, you know. We have mental problems. Some have more serious mental problems than the others. That's why we need to come for meditation, to understand it. If you have a friend or family members you love dearly that who have to go through all this, you're in agony too. Life is a life of suffering. I'm not being negative. Life is a life of suffering, but the Buddha taught us to liberate ourselves from suffering. You have to understand the facts. The facts are we are in suffering. Some people say, life is suffering. Oh, you're negative. Oh, well, I'm happy. I'm happy. He does not even know what suffering is. Today is happy, and next day he got divorced by his wife. He's not happy anymore. He does not even know. He just reacts to reality with emotions, not with wisdom. All right, so you know how to calm your mind? You have to learn your meditation. When a thought comes up, you have to subdue it. If you train yourself all the time, don't let negative thought comes up. If you're so much used to it, it won't come up anymore. But it's extremely difficult. You must have a method. And one of the many methods that was what we've got in meditation. We concentrate in the breath, the in-breath and out-breath. Breath in, breath out. Why do we concentrate in the in-breath and the out-breath? We are training our mind to realize what happened in our thought. You don't know what happened in your thought until it's too late. We're training ourselves. Oh, I'm breathing in, breathing out. I know every thought, every single minute thought, I know. Then you understand what is wholesome and unwholesome thought. When an unwholesome thought comes up, oh, it comes. I don't let it arise anymore, subdued. When a wholesome thought comes up, let it grow. Oh, I want to be compassionate. I don't want to be a volunteer at a hospital. I want to help this. I want to give all my possessions. And I allowed it to flourish. I want to give out. I don't just want to receive. The people who just want to, you give me the benefits. I don't want to give out anything. But now I'm giving out. So that's why you do meditation. And if you do that all the time, not just calming your mind, if you calm your mind all the time, then one day your mind is so pure that you arrive at the state of nirvana. That's what the Buddha experienced. No more reincarnation. When you die this body out, no more reincarnation. You understand? So that's it. Next question. What do you mean by faith? Is it just believing whatever is said? No. If you believe in whatever you're told, you're a blind follower. You have to analyze it, understand it. And once you analyze it, understand it, you attach your faith to it, you don't waver anymore. I like to be a compassionate person. I like to, I believe in the Buddhist teaching. I want to be compassionate. I want to help out. And then maybe after 1 or 2 months, you encounter some difficulties, something you don't like. It's not right. I've been compassionate, and the Buddha's not giving me any blessing. I don't believe in it anymore. I don't have the experience of believing in it. I don't have good stuff coming to me. I don't believe anymore. So you're wavering. You don't set, you have the objective is right, you don't change, you have faith in it. A student at university, I want to get my degree. I'm studying for a BA degree, and I want to get it. Somebody told me that you don't need a degree to be rich. You don't have to study. It's a terrible university anyway. It's good, not good a professor. Oh, maybe he's right, so I should drop out. I'll go get a job. I mean, you don't have the faith in that you want to receive that education. You think that that education is elementary to you. You change all the time. You're wavering like a willow. When the wind blows from the east, you turn to the east. Wind blows to the west, you turn to the west. You don't have your own faith. It does not mean that you believe in whatever is said and you're a blind believer. Can doubt be wholesome if you want to experience what is said first rather than just blindly believing? That's the first question. You have to have certain doubt, but when the doubt is clear, you don't create a doubt anymore. Doubt would always come in as a snake to snipe at you. Even after you reinforce yourself that no more doubt. Doubt is something that is so bad that you need reification, you need reinforcement to tell you, I shouldn't be doubtful on this. I'm positive on this, and this is what I want. I want to get to the destination. I want to get it right. I want to be a champion in figure skating. I want to be a champion in singing. I want to be a champion in certain thing. And I have no doubt that I want to be like that. So you have no doubt. That's important. Someone is playing the piano, and someone said, no, piano is not that good. Playing a guitar, then you change the guitar, then you change to a flute, then you change to a saxophone. At the end, you don't have anything. That happened to me when I was a teenager. I learned the flute, I learned this and I learned that. I haven't got anything mastered. Third, can shamelessness be truly be unwholesome in certain situations? For example, in youth, sometimes people feel shame for doing good because they worry about what their peers will say. Yeah, when you're a teenager, if you don't smoke, you're not cool. So you want to smoke. So that means ignorance dominates you. So in other words, you should be under the guidance of the parents or some of your good friends who tell you that regardless of what your peers say, maintain your own attitude, be firm on what you're doing, and not be doubtful of your own faith. It all related. What you explain about duality, what's your opinion about duality? About duality, we live in a world of duality. Rich and poor, tall and short, ugly and beauty. We always compare. We always attach our dogma to what we compare. We always, and on top of that, we're self-centered. We live in a world of duality. That's why we cannot liberate ourselves from discrimination. Last question. How can you truly forgive if you can't forget? You forgive. Forgive does not mean that you have to forget to forgive. Forget is something that forgetfulness is it's a fault. Forgive is not a fault. To forgive someone is wholesome. But always be forgetful of something is not right. So if you work with someone and he depends on you, and if you always have the habit of forgetfulness, you can't remember turn on. You don't turn on the switch, you don't clean it afterwards, after you've done your cookery, you always forget about things that you should do, then people don't like you, they won't cooperate with you. So you don't forget, but you forgive. But don't ask people to forgive you because you forget. It's not right. Oh, forgive me, I always forget, you forgive me. And I don't know how you can relate forgive and forget. Forget it, forgive me. It's not a synonym. Forgetfulness is not good. You always are forgetful. Always turn off the switch after meditation hall and so that we won't waste energy. And you always forget, for example. No, it's not right. But to forgive someone is right.